that your profile is really amazing. So how as a young professional you have bloomed, and in which areas are you involved in?
So I think it all started because I was told to make a LinkedIn profile by the entrepreneurship cell of my college, just like yours, to get sponsors for the event. And I never had a liking towards writing, I never wrote as a child, either in school or college. And one day I saw my friend, stalking people on LinkedIn, and he himself was a great creator. So I asked him that what is it really on the platform? Why do people even spend time to write on it? They might as well start a blog of their own or create a page somewhere else where they get good returns. Why on LinkedIn? So then he explained me what the platform is all about. And I don't do something unless I believe in it, So it really took me about 6 months of conviction, self conviction rather, to get going on the platform. And just so you know, I was studying marketing. I had zero knowledge on finance. I didn't read newspapers also back then in college. And thankfully, my age worked in my favor. I was just 18 when I made these mistakes. I just started out with a philosophical post on LinkedIn, which clearly didn't work out given what the platform stands for. And I still remember that my first post just got about 3 likes, but it didn't really trigger me as such because I was writing for myself more than the audience. And then I realized later on that it's a social media platform. You need to also keep the reader's interest in mind, not just yours. So I tried to find a middle ground. I saw what I love reading about, what I can write on, and what can resonate with the audience. Once these three boxes were checked, I then went ahead and started summarizing the news articles and current affairs in very simplistic terms. So that is what I was doing in my college, and it all came in place for me because I was also a part of the startup which I had founded with my team in college called the Representative, where we used to put out news in a very crisp format, which the newspapers weren't doing back in those times. So we were doing really great, but then after graduation we decided to go in our own paths. We wanted to get into jobs, realize how the corporate world is, and take some experience. So it then became a passion based project, but I took most of my learnings from there, and that's how I started writing consistently on LinkedIn. And today, I mean, till this date, I am I make sure that I write every day. And some days when I don't feel like writing, I don't because I feel that the quality doesn't shouldn't get compromised just because you need to be consistent. And that mantra has played off very well for me. Currently I'm running a startup called Radically Yours, where I connect startups and investors, and we are foraying into a new segment for women only founders and investors, given the gender gap that exists there and the lack of opportunities that women face from across the globe. So that is what we are building as a tech-based platform. And in between these two things, representative and my current startup, I was working in a law firm as well. Many people ask me that, are you a lawyer? And if you aren't, how did you end up there? So that also has a story to it. I know we are we have limited time, but I'll just tell you briefly how did I get in there. It was also through LinkedIn. I mean, it has given me a lot in my life. It's one thing successful that happens in your life, it's that branch which turns out into a beautiful tree and helps you grow. So that is how LinkedIn has helped me. The partner in the law firm just approached me one day that, I've read about your articles you write, and would you like to join us? We are starting afresh. Do you want to be a part of our strategy and content team? So I said yes because I didn't know where it was headed, but I thought it's a good opportunity during the pandemic. It's very difficult anyways to get a job, so might as well be surrounded by smart people who are lawyers. I'm sure it would be something that I can learn from them. So I did hiring. I mean, I hired lawyers being a non-lawyer. That was that was one of the best experiences that I've had in the corporate world so far.
I mean, everything, law firms, two startups, LinkedIn content creation. Like, how did you manage your time doing all these stuff?
Also, it's all that I've spoken to you in 4 minutes. It's a matter of 4 years,
Yeah, yeah, but during your college, since you have mentioned that you were involved in the entrepreneurship cell, and that at that time you had curated your startup, the representative, and at the same time you also started writing on LinkedIn. So like, and along with the college studies, that is always there. So like, how did you manage your time?
Oh, thankfully, my college ended by 10 a.m. in the morning when most of the people get up. So my already the day of my college was finished by 10 a.m. I had a lot of time in my hand, and the startup was in sync with what I did on LinkedIn. It wasn't something very different. For example, I was not doing something in fashion and writing in politics. It was going hand in hand. Whatever I did for the representative, as a writer, as an editor, as a team manager, I wrote about this same content on LinkedIn. So that played out really well for me, and I was very focused in my initial years. I knew that I wanted to start something of my own only, and whatever pays off well, I will continue doing that. It wouldn't be that I'll try my hand at different things and then decide what to do. I knew that, okay, if I'm doing marketing, I will stick to my ground. I will see what I like and what am I good at, because it's only like 50% that other 50% is proven to you by the world that, okay, you're good at this. So for that, I took a lot of internships to understand what am I good at. And it only started in internship, that I started reading newspapers thoroughly in 2019. After my internship hours, I used to stay back in the office because it was an environment that I wouldn't get otherwise, right? And I knew my internship is going to get over. I'll have to go back to the classroom again, and it wasn't very interesting. I mean, for donkey's years you've been studying in classroom, right from your school to kindergarten to college. So why would you want to be in the same environment? Office was something very enthralling and different for me, and I get excited and curious by everything, right from how a table or a chair is organized to how a person is speaking in the office. So that kept me glued in. And I used to like stay back, and since I was making the list of human resources from different companies, there I used to think that, okay, I haven't even heard of this company, what does it do? So when I used to Google it, like I'll give you an example. I didn't know that Dettol's parent company was Reckitt Benckiser. I thought Dettol in itself is a company when I was 19 years old. So all these kind of discoveries, although it might just look very trivial to you or sound very small to a stranger, it really excited me, And I think when you're curious, you go deep into something and find a treasure for yourself. So I think that's how I would manage everything. It was just my curiosity, nothing else.
That's really great. I can actually relate to this thing that when you get something to new to know about, like you mentioned about the Dettol example. So like it has
Yeah.
happened with me also. So I can completely understand this. Like since you mentioned that the radically yours, the startup as you mentioned, is basically it connects the startups to the investors. So that like since you like been touch it with the VCs as well.
Yeah, we do interact with different VC funds on a day-to-day basis because we help them with the deal flow. So whenever a startup approaches us, we have a filtration process where we try to understand their pitch deck, their business plan, their vision, and the strategy to grow. And if we think that they fit our bill, in the sense that are they in the post-revenue stage, are they having an initial investment already, because a VC fund won't invest directly into a startup which is just into ideation stage. Although we have some funds which are dedicated to those kind of startups, but we don't deal with those as such. We deal with the bigger names like Matrix, Sequoia, or Elevation, which is the capital bank of SoftBank. So we deal with them, and they like to have startups which are already in the growth stage or have shown some revenues and product market fit. So that's the reason why we only work with selected founders, and we have about 10 to 12 portfolios under us whom we are helping to fundraise. One of them being, founded by the co-founder of Housing.com. So he's running an edtech startup now, and it was very nice journey, to introduce him to different edtech funds globally. You also get to learn about how different funds of the same category think differently. in different geographies. So it's a learning from every side and every corner for all of us involved, not just the founders, but also the people who are, they're listening on the side as an investment banker.
And since you've been in touch with investors, and also, what are your views about what an investor thinks basically when a startup founder pitch their idea?
Yeah. So I think I have noticed that they capture the first impression in right 10 seconds after you're into the conversation. It's just that first 10 seconds they apply that full body emotion philosophy. They try to check that if is your mind, heart, soul, everything in place, or you're just doing it for money, or just doing it for impact, or just doing for the sake of it because everybody is wanting to become an entrepreneur, given the fact that how valuation game is turning up. So they try to analyze the softer skills before, rather than purely jumping into the technical aspects of the things. So if you get on a call with any VC investor, firstly they will ask you what is your purpose of doing this, why are you doing this, and why do you think you are the best person to do this. So they try to understand your motivation behind something, and after they have been they have thought that okay, this founder is actually into doing whatever he or she is doing, then they go ahead and say, okay, now you explain me, what business are you doing? What are the metrics? How do you plan to grow? What's your 5-year plan? 5 year is too long a plan. These days, they have cut it short to either 1 or 2 years, because you don't know about uncertainties like pandemic and others. Before pandemic, people used to ask about your long-term trajectory. But right now they are talking about, okay, tell me 6 month plan. If you think that you can make this revenues, we will definitely invest. And they see your background experience also, that have you proven to be a good leader or a good productive entrepreneur. So it's easier for serial entrepreneurs to raise money. They even raise money from institutional guys at the ideation stage, because they have already made a name for themselves. But for the first time founders, it's very, very difficult. They have to do many calls. I mean, we used to sit on calls with founders, so we know how it is. A founder used to have about 10 to 12 calls a day, and every second I would notice I'm sipping water. So I can only imagine how difficult it is. And that to Advitya, whom I spoke to you of, he's already been the founder of housing.com. And yet he had to take many calls, which says that the market is tough. It's not easy to just sell by your face name or your brand name or personality. You need to have the actual crux of the business, and that business should be attached to the core of your heart. And only and only then you get the VC attention and the VC money at the end of the day.
So basically, the first 10 seconds, the investor focuses on your personality first, rather than what your idea is.
Yeah, definitely.
So, so also I wanted to ask, these days, content marketing is also growing, and also creator economy, the idea of creator economy is getting around among the youth a lot. So, what are your thoughts on content-driven growth and community building?
Yeah, I think it's growing massively. It was there before, not like it came all of a sudden. Just that the potential of it has been realized now, because people have been, and the media openly is also talking about how finfluencers or influencers are making money, loads of money with brand collaborations, building their own audience. And I think when the awareness gets spreaded into the right areas, it's then it's then I mean, for example, if I read about something today in the newspaper that an Instagram creator got 10 lakh rupees per month just by speaking about a topic that they were really interested in and knew about, it would motivate me naturally as a human, right, to produce content as well, given the fact that I'm not camera shy and I love the work that goes behind it. So I think that has helped a lot of creators come on the online platforms. LinkedIn was nothing when I started. Like, I barely saw people of my age writing, but right now it's so crowded and flooded. Everybody is writing different stories. And there's a debate also all over, that is the essence of LinkedIn getting diluted because everybody wants to share everything about their life and not others' life, which LinkedIn was supposed to be for, you know. So yeah, you've come across those posts you were saying.
Yeah, I have come across like in various comment sections I was reading, like there's a whole like long debate going on in the comment sections as
Yeah.
well. Like I've read the post like that. So
Yeah. And I think in terms of creator economy, many businesses are coming up. And in fact, creators themselves are creating brands out of the personal brands they've built for themselves. So that in itself is giving VCs a lot of confidence because there's nothing like having loyal customer base. You know, you can have a great idea, product, pricing. You can even have a good market opportunity. But if you don't have customers, your business won't be scalable and it can't sustain for a longer period of time. So I think that's the mode with which the creators are stealing VC money and getting their attention, I think. So if you build a loyal following, you can have your own business, you can get good investors. And in terms of different other people outside the industry supporting creators, there are many people who are coming up with platforms like Tag Mango is one of them, although it was started by a micro influencer only, Divyanshu Damani. So he also has a platform where he lets creators hold master classes for normal people to learn from. You know, for example, if I'm good at LinkedIn, I would want to do a master class as to how did I begin, what all do I use as a research tool to write, what are my sources, what is my strategy, how do I ideate. So it is a good monetization platform, not just for creators who do the courses, but also for the platform itself. And it is funded by Y Combinator, which is one of the biggest accelerators in the world. So yeah, I think the business is going up and up. It's only a matter of time that you'll see that creator economy in itself has become a huge sector like edtech or fintech.
that's very nice. And I think you have mentioned about the internships as well. That internships gave you, very huge experience in terms of, and it gave you a different experience basically. So like these days, students are really involved with startups and all. So how do you think internships, like at the same time, do you suggest them to do internship first and or focus on the startup? Like it happens, like I have come across students that they're confused that they should do internships or they should focus on their startup. Like, because there are two, like if you're doing an internship, you have to give your time to it. So how do you
Yeah.
what's your call
So
on
I
it?
think it's again going back to the basics. It's important to understand why are we doing what we're doing. If you know why you want to do internships, if it's for experience, then question yourself that will you get the same experience if you build a startup of your own? Because, for example, if you're working in an edtech startup, plus if you are also wanting to build an edtech startup, where will you get most of the exposure from? And when it comes to learning, it's not necessary that you will get the learning after working under somebody only. You can also have efficient mentors to guide you, and that's why there is such brouhaha about mentorship. Why do people say that you need to have role models and people who you can look up to? It's so that you path you have a learning curve in a certain direction. So I think it's just up to your purpose. Where do you want to be? And how do you want to get started? If you think that you don't have it in you to directly jump into the ocean, then you rather take a float first, take a trainer with you, and then learn how to swim. But if you think you can take the risk because you have no fear and you think you can manage it by yourself, you can, uh, tell a lifeguard and tell him to save you, then of course jump into the ocean directly. So again, it boils down to this thing that what is your core personality. If you're a risk taker, of course entrepreneurship is for you. And if you think that you can become a risk taker by passing of time, then of course you should go for corporate job and internships. I mean, that's how you think. Anant Narayana, who is the founder of Mensa Brands, he's been the CEO of Mintra for a long time, and then he ventured out into starting something of his own. So people are, it's just up to who you are, what kind of a person you are, and what kind of network plus resources you have. If you are from a rich family, you have the background resources, everything under the sun available for you, then I think you don't have to really go somewhere else and see how it pans out before starting up. So I think it's just about the outer environment, availability, and about your inner personality. These two are the key things that determine which way should you be going. There's no set answer to it.
So basically, we'll have to look into ourselves and ask the question to oneself, not
Yeah.
instead of finding answers around the world.
Yeah, because if you find answers from somebody else, you'll always have the regret. You'll be like, why did I even join this internship? I could have done something of my own. So much of my time is wasted. And in that demotivation, you end up doing nothing. Absolutely nothing, So it's better that if you do something, it should be with full buy-in of your own self. Only then you'll have the confidence and the balance to manage things.
That's really great, and it was a very good opinion. Also, like since I mentioned I was going through your profile, it was that you've been a TEDx speaker as well.
Yeah,
So I wanted to know, yeah. So how was your experience there?
Oh, unfortunately, it was online. As much as I would have loved to go there in the college, it was in Chennai. Some engineering college had invited me, but it was online. Although it was online, I have a story behind this. Though it was on May 29th, I remember, and the night of May 28th, I was so sick, and it all happened suddenly. I was puking. I was not feeling well at all. I don't know what came over, but when I gave the speech, I felt so energetic, and after that it just made me feel as if nothing had happened the last night, and I was all well and refreshed. So I think when you speak openly with excitement on something you love, and when you share your ideas and opinions with somebody who wants to hear those ideas, I think it really helps you boost your self esteem and makes you feel confident or whatever you're doing in life, so I think it's important to understand what you stand for, and why should people be even listening to you? Everybody's time is equally important, even after you reach at some stage in your life. Even a politician, for that matter, prepares for every speech before they go in, because they know that today I'm there, tomorrow I'm not. So how do I, use my time so efficiently with others' time that I leave an impact in every word I say? So I read this book called Measure What Matters, and I suggest everybody reading that also. It really lays emphasis on the fact that how every word that comes out of your mouth should be measured, and you should know what you're speaking. You should never be in a hurry to complete something or to finish something just to get done with it, because that way nobody would even remember you, and you would also regret that such a good opportunity had come to you and you missed out on it. So I think I made the most out of it. I'm not a person who likes to plan and prepare a lot, but having said that, I structure my thoughts very well, so that whenever somebody talks to me or invites me to talk, I know what to speak, and I am very aware of their time as well. So keeping those softer aspects in mind, when I speak, it really makes a good impact, as far as I know, at least.
Yeah, it really makes a good impact, and I feel the energy of the people whom we are speaking to, the energy of the crowd also matters a lot at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, but I
I
think it just goes back to the philosophy that no student is bad. If a student is bad, it's teacher's problem. If a teacher is good, any student can become good, So similarly, no audience is bad. Even if they're getting bored, it's your problem, not the audience's problem. You make a stand-up comedian stand in front of any audience, they will laugh, right? Because they enjoy. So it's up to you, how do you make your audience thrilled and entertained?
yeah, completely agreed. So,
Yeah.
like in general, any advice you would like to give to the students and the first-time entrepreneurs that are building something of their own?
Yeah, I would say that just question yourself every day, why are you doing this? And if you have a definite answer to it in one line, not in a big paragraph or a 1 hour statement, then you go ahead with it. Otherwise, don't start at all, because when you start something in confusion, you land up nowhere, and then you feel that I haven't been able to do this, how will I do it next time? So that confidence level just drops, massively. So I think you need to understand what you're dealing with and how it will pan out for you. So the first step is, once you identify that okay, I am good at this and I can build this, second step is that you identify it in the market. So carrying out a survey is very important to validate your idea or your product that you have already built. I would suggest that before building a product, just understand from the people that do they even want your product, and ask yourself this question, that is my product a need to have or is it just good to have? Will people die coming on my platform if it stops one day? Will it be like Maggie? When it was banned, there was so much of noise around it, that what will I eat now? How will I make food for my friends when they come over, this, that? So just understand the usability and the durability of your product. Is it really something that the market needs and would want for years and years? And as a founder, always have a co-founder by yourself, by your side, because after so many interactions, I've realized that very few VC founders want to invest into solo entrepreneurs, because when they are investing into a business, they are wanting to make a legacy out of it. And given the pandemic, it's very uncertain. You never know when death comes, it's inevitable. But business shouldn't be inevitable. That's the philosophy and the principle on which the investments are made. So always have somebody where have an incredible leadership team or a co-founder where you can still have the business running and going on if you're not present. That's very important, because founders sometimes think that if they are there and they'll handle everything, they need to have control of it. But the art lies in giving the control away to people, so that they get that sense of belongingness and they think that it's their own baby and their own startup also that they want to grow. So yeah, I think these are just some of the things that you can keep in mind while starting up.
It was really, really great interacting with you, Radhika. And I think we are done. And like, if you want to add on something, like in general, I've asked you anyways, but still, like, if you want to say something, and
Yeah, just have an open mind always, especially for college students. Try out different activities, explore your societies and different activities. Because when I was in my college, many people used to point fingers at me that why is she everywhere, you know, and does she not have any work? I mean, but I was never bothered about it. I knew that what I was doing, that there's a purpose behind it, there's a reason, and I knew that I'll get something out of it. And today, definitely, it has helped me a lot in whatever I'm doing. The exposure and the conversations that I've had with people in the past. Had I just gone out and chilled with the same set of my friends, I wouldn't ever have gotten that perspective. But having said that, having a social life is also very important. So just have that balance, and achieving that balance at a young age is very difficult. But for that, again, then it's important to have mentors to tell you that what is right and what is wrong, and always surround yourself with smarter people. As younger people like us, we have this fear that, oh, what if this person turns out to be smarter than me? What will happen really? So we don't have that courage to face a smarter person, and we think that the world is just ended for us if a smarter person enters the room. But just feel grateful that the person has, and try to make friends with them. Never have some bad feelings for anyone or arrogance if you succeed. Just be very humble and stay focused on whatever you do. Try to make friends with people. Don't ever think that people are trying to get something out of yourselves, or they're thinking bad about you and that's why they're giving you feedback. Always take things in a positive stride, at least at a younger age. Only then will you have an open mind and heart to accept, let go, and keep learning.
I think these were the needed words for college students. Actually,
Yeah.
honestly speaking, because this made me also feel like, since I'm also a college student, so yeah,
Yeah.
actually it is there in the college, so it is the
Yeah.
truth.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
a pleasure for interacting with you, and thank you so much for your time, Radhika. And anything else which you would like to?
Thanks for having me. Just a great job that you guys have always been doing. It's been defined as a legacy now. Like you write to any speaker from the world and they'll be like, oh, IIT Bombay, I'm coming definitely, without giving it a second thought. So that in itself requires so much of efforts, and I'm sure that it's all been pulled off really well by students themselves, who are just aged 19 to 22. So I think that if students can do something, then it's something that professionals can also learn from it, and not be scared of organizing corporate events in their own corporations as well. So that was it. But yeah, keep up the great work that you guys are doing. Really inspiring to see your website, YouTube, and other social media pieces that you'll keep rolling out.